Kendra and Sean are putting the finishing touches on their wedding planning. It's the next chapter after moving from London, Ontario, and making Montreal their home. The transition to a new city didn't go smoothly.
It was stressful. We had been here not even a year, and it kind of felt like, oh, well, here's your welcome to Montreal. You're getting rent-evicted after less than a year.
We've agreed to use the couple's first names only. Kendra and Sean say speaking out is risky, and rental board rulings can make tenants unattractive to landlords.
Even if the ruling was in your favor, like you did nothing wrong and everything, they can still like, oh, that person's caused trouble. And it's kind of now like a blacklist.
It can make it very hard to stand up for your rights if you know that afterwards you might never get another apartment again.
Magali Cuvillier is their former landlord.
Yeah.
The influencer girl boss. It's frustrating kind of seeing someone make this kind of like glamorous influencer lifestyle out of what I think is a business that's just very predatory.
C'est ça.
Je fais bien, je dors bien la nuit. Tu sais, je veux dire, c'est important ça aussi. Là. Il y en a beaucoup qui vont pas faire la bonne... They won't do the right thing parce qu'au court terme, ça marche pour eux. Mais au final, ça peut affecter ta réputation.
As a guest on this real estate podcast, Cuvillier paints a picture of herself as an enterprising young woman who found financial freedom through real estate investment. She shares an Instagram account with her boyfriend and business partner, Edouard Martin, highlighting their love of motorbikes and travel.
Au final, tu sais, c'est pour ça que je fais de l'immobilier, parce que je veux aller faire mes voyages de moto.
In May 2023, Sean and Kendra and their neighbors were advised there were major structural issues with their building and everyone would have to leave by August. According to the email, the work was expected to last 7 months and tenants could return once it was completed.
There was very little details, and there was no mention of like any kind of compensation for having to leave our homes.
They claim Cuvillier wasn't transparent throughout the process, leaving tenants confused and frustrated.
She was always speaking to us in French, and then we had Francophone neighbors who didn't speak English very well, and she was only speaking to them in English. So that was another thing that we found was like, okay, that's a red flag.
Cuvillier declined our request for an on-camera interview, but through her lawyer provided a series of statements, documents, and a chronology of events. She claims she accompanied tenants every step of the way and even provided the engineering inspection report upon request. She also says every tenant received financial compensation and some were even offered a temporary place to stay at other buildings she owns. But this wasn't the first time there was trouble at 4010 Evangeline. 1 year earlier, in 2022, a tenant from the building took Cuvillier's numbered company to the Quebec Housing Tribunal. She had been paying $866 a month in rent. The administrative judge concluded Cuvillier had been harassing the tenant and, quote, persistently violated the tenant's rights, all with the goal of making her leave the dwelling. Cuvillier was ordered to pay $3,000 in damages. In a statement to CTV News, Cuvillier said, quote, the judgment speaks for itself. There was a personality conflict between me and this tenant. I learned from the situation with this tenant. If I had to do it over again, I would proceed differently, but I cannot change the past. As for Kendra and Sean, they eventually reached an agreement with Cuvillier to end their lease early. They found a new place in Verdun, but other tenants weren't so lucky.
We saw one of our neighbors carrying his stuff out to the curb, and he was saying, like, yeah, I can't afford a place anymore. I have to go live on my aunt's couch now.
These kinds of stories and Cuvillier's name are familiar to the Verdun Citizens Action Committee.
When I hear her name, I am absolutely reminded of many people who she's affected, including a lot of elderly people who are very afraid and who came here in desperation.
Lynn O'Donnell keeps a file connected to Cuvillier, and according to her records, many tenants decided against taking their cases to the Housing Tribunal.
This takes an enormous amount of time and energy. So even if they're able to do that and they win, let's say, these speculators are hit with consequences that are really insignificant. And I'm not sure that there is a real amount that could really dissuade this kind of behavior. because it's just the cost of doing business.
According to an email obtained by CTV News, the borough of Verdun was informed of the issues at 4010 Evangeline in the spring of 2023. The email was sent to Alexis Boivin-Claveau, one of the borough's liaison officers. On May 3, 2023, she responded, "We are on the file of 4010 Evangeline. Thank you for this information." But when CTV News reached out for details of the borough's records on the building, Boivin-Claveau replied with this: "Unfortunately, I am not aware of any files concerning Magali Cuvillier and therefore cannot provide you with any information on the subject." We followed up with a request for clarification. Boivin-Claveau never responded. Meantime, a 4.5 at 4010 Evangeline was recently listed on Facebook Marketplace for $1,750 a month. As for Kendra and Sean, they say they hope others can learn from their experience.
If you're in a multiplex building, talk to your neighbors. It's very important if you're all dealing with the same landlord, because you never know if you're all getting the same story.
This story, just one of many, as more tenants come forward with their problems with landlords to warn others about their experiences. Maya Johnson, CTV News.